Hello friends, welcome to this live stream, and in this live stream we talk about the top companies in your state, and the name of the program is also Know the Top Companies in Your State. And we meet you every day, present the top company in a particular segment, and right now we are actually taking journey through the state of Haryana, where we are identifying the top companies in the state. And today we want to discuss about the segment which is the aerospace and defense segment. In the area of aerospace and defense segment, and especially in the state of Haryana, which is the topmost company. That is what we want to discuss today. And based on our research, we have identified the topmost company in this space, which is defense and aerospace in Haryana, and that is BEL, which is also known as Bharat Electronics Limited. Bharat Electronics Limited. BEL is a PSU, which is in certain countries known as parastatal. In India, they are known as public sector undertaking. So essentially, they are private company but wholly owned by the government of India. So they are, they behave and work like a private company, the PSUs, and BEL, which is the BEL, is also a PSU. It's a private company completely owned by the central government, and therefore, since they are owned by the government implement their policies, their employee benefit into these companies. So the people who work for PSUs, especially BEL, their remuneration and their benefits will be better off than the government employees, or if not equal. So their employment is considered as a government employment, and that is one big difference here. If you basically look at the private companies vis-a-vis the public sector undertaking. And in the area of aerospace and defense in the state of Haryana, BEL is number one. There are other companies also, but we will explain why BEL is numero uno in the state of Haryana. Especially if you know that Haryana has, Haryana families are sending a lot of their children, sons, and daughters now into the armed forces. So it is very important that BEL is also working in this state, churning out the technology. So it's not only that fighting people are going now because of the BEL investment in the state of Haryana. A lot of citizens are participating in the technology development for defense and aerospace. So we will discuss all of that in our live stream. And by the way, friends, I'm live with you. If you have any questions, you can actually shoot it across. It will get displayed on my screen. I will show your name also here, and I will address it immediately. All right, let's move on. So it is well established that the BEL is a aerospace and defense manufacturing completely owned by the government. It's a parastatal or the public sector undertaking, and therefore in the area of defense, BEL manufactures, the first thing that they manufacture is the radar systems. Radar system, air traffic control, surveillance, and weapon locating. So these are the things which it produces. Also sonar, which is used underwater. So I will actually briefly tell you what is radar. Radar is a instrument which actually sends the radio wave, and then if there is an approaching aircraft, enemy aircraft, it bounces off from that aircraft, and at the speed of light, the bounced back reflected radio waves hit back the receiver, and based on certain software, certain understanding of how much signal we have got it back as reflected from the target, we will be able to ascertain what kind of threat is coming over towards India. And now things happened very rapidly, and these are the systems which were evolved during the Second World War, but then they have reached the pinnacle of advancement. So radar systems are the forefront of defenses for the country, and BEL specializes in building these radar systems, which are used either by the Air Force or by Army, and these radar systems have different characteristics. So we are not going too much in depth, but important thing is that radars are being manufactured out of Haryana. I talked about other surveillance systems. So there are surveillance systems which are put on a high flying aircraft and also on the satellites. These surveillance basically monitor what is going on, what are the activities. Now the surveillance systems work slightly different than the radar, because radars are things which are immediate in real time. Surveillance is a constant surveillance, and it's basically the awareness of the border situation where what is going on has to be understood. So the technology used by surveillance systems are in the optical range, sometimes they are in the infrared range. So basically to see the heat map of that area, conflict zone, or general surveillance about the border, what is going on, how many people are coming and going, etc. So all that can be visible using the surveillance. If somebody's even the cutting the tree can also be monitored by the surveillance system. So surveillance systems have far-reaching effect. These surveillance systems are not only used for defense but also used as a side note, I'm saying, as a used for climate change, control of the climate. Going forward, they also have the warning systems where the enemy outside the borders activity can be monitored. So there are technology which the Bell is generating, which will basically keep a track of how many trucks are moving around, if they are preparing for an invasion into India, how many tanks are there, those kind of things. So they also have this technology which they are developing. And now let's look at the sonar systems, maritime surveillance. So for those, radars are not used. Those are based on sound system, because underwater radio waves do not travel. Radio waves are absorbed by the water. So if there are submarines and ships and maritime surveillance that is to be done, then the sound waves are used, and therefore Bell has an expertise to produce these surveillance systems, radar systems, sonar systems, etc. So these are all high tech. As I'm telling you, these are all high tech stuff. So nature of business of Bharat Electronics is really, really high tech, and that is why this company stands out, and they are number one in Haryana. Now move on. Bell also plays a major role in designing communications for Indian Armed Forces. Now communication is also very important. The communication should not be tapped by the enemy. At the same time, it should not be jammed by the enemy. So there are so many other aspects of a successful communication. It should not be interfering with the civilian communications. For example, people like you and me, we are always talking on wireless using mobile phones. So the armed forces do not want to get entangled in the civilian communication towers or communication bandwidth. So the requirements of armed forces are very different from the requirements of communication needs of civilian. And the Bell understands those nuances, and they are very highly geared up to understand the defense related communication, so that during the wartime or during peacetime, the armed forces can communicate with each other either using satellites or using a technology which cannot be jammed, etc. The message can be delivered from command position to the front line position, and so on and so forth. And it should be easy to use. It should be as easy to pick up the receiver and just talk without being really worried about what is going on, etc. So Bell actually create these research and development and come up with high-tech communication systems for armed forces. Bell is also manufacturing variety of electro-optic systems, night vision devices, laser rangefinders, and guidance system for missiles, and also avionics, which are now put under the Indian aircrafts and Indian manufactured helicopters. Now, as the nature of defense systems or warfare is changing, and mostly these changes are being driven by companies like Bell. And we are discussing Bell because Bell is number one in the state of Haryana. Therefore, it is very important to understand that these advanced systems, which is night vision devices, communication devices, avionics control, which are put in Tejas or advanced light helicopter, which is the premium product manufactured under Make It in India initiative. and Bell is at the forefront in developing these systems. So all the aircraft manufacturers who are basically coming out with the aircraft, for example, in India, there are private initiative, as well as there are another PSU known as Hindustan Aeronautical Limited, HAL. So they take the avionics from companies like Bell, put that in their aircraft, and these are very very high precision, high quality devices, and these devices are designed in such a way that they should not fail in any eventuality. Unless the aircraft crashes completely, the avionics has to function in all conditions. So that kind of threshold Bell works at, and therefore their research and development has to be really very high quality, and they are basically developing these systems. Because of these advancement, Bell holds dominant position in the Indian defense market, especially developing the electronics equipment which are used in defense as well as warfare, and therefore Bell enjoys more than 50% market share in aerospace and defense sector, and 50% market share in Haryana is basically what makes them number one. It's and a lot of people from Haryana wants to go to defense services in India. They get deployed in various defense areas, defensive positions in India. Female actually feel very good sense of pride when they send their children into armed forces. And now, because Bell has a major presence in the state of Haryana, people also take pride that their children are working for Bharat Electronics, because they are also contributing from their technical know-how and expertise into providing much robust defensive equipment, high-tech equipment for the defense forces. So I think this is very important, that the thinking of the people, the nature of the people living in Haryana, and Bell has a major presence in Haryana, having almost 50% market share in the state of Haryana is remarkable. This explains why Bell is number one company in the state of Haryana. Moving on, as you know that most of the activities that Bell, most of the equipment that Bell produces, normally the consumption is with the government, the defense forces, which is the government. So government come out with a tender, companies like Bell participate in the tender, and they also basically say that I can produce this system or that system. Now, in order to have that confidence, Bell has to invest a lot in the research and development. Without government coming back to them asking for any requirement or coming out with a tender, it should not happen that the government of India, which is the prime customer for defense companies, aerospace and defense companies, because aerospace and defense equipment will not be sold to the public and civil. Civilians will not have any use to the technology which is being provided by Bell. So their core customer is government of India. And in case they are finding any other customer outside India, the permission for that also will be given by government of India. So you can imagine the companies like Bharat Electronics have a very high customer base, which is only one government, which is government of India. Even if they under friendly contracts, if the technology transfer is happening from India to any other country, that also be told to companies like Bell by the government only. So they have only one customer, and whenever the customer comes back, they have to be ready. They have to say that, look, I can do this for you, and I am already 80% ready with this research. Therefore, major emphasis for aerospace and defense is on the research, because they have to think, the research crack team has to think at least 1 year, 2 years ahead, very, very far off in the future. And they have to come up with the latest technology, how they can use latest technology, so that when government, which is their sole customer, comes back to them, they should be able to say confidently, look, we are 60% ready, 80% ready, 70% ready, and we can do it this final product within like 3 months, 6 months, and so on, and they can deliver it. So that is the kind of nature of business these aerospace and defense organizations have. Their major investment happens in hiring the scientists, engineers, metallurgists, material science specialists, and software fabricators, which are of the exceptional quality. And they actually use these skills in performing various research and development, irrespective of whether that order is being placed by the government. They have to keep doing research. So major activity that Bell employees will have to do is research and development of various latest technology, so that whenever their customer, single customer, comes back to them, say that, look, I'm looking for this equipment, that equipment, they should be able to come back and say, look, we can do it at this price, and this is why I'm ready, and I've done years and years of research, and that is why for this job Bell is the best partner, because they've already spent 100,000 man hours in performing this research under controlled situation. Now using this research, they will be able to produce that equipment which will not fail in the field. So that is the nature of the business for company like Bell. Their major focus is on the research and development in the aerospace and defense area. And because of this nature of operations, they employ very specific kind of skill sets when it comes to hiring people. First of all, the employees which are hired have to be again approved by their sole customer, which is Government of India. That means the security clearance has to be obtained by each employee. Their background verification or KYC is of a different level altogether. We are all used to KYC in the financial systems today. However, when it comes to defense employees or people associated with any defense, their security clearance has to be provided by Government of India. Once the security clearance is obtained based on the very high standards of KYC, then they can apply into companies like Bell. So each and every employee has to be approved as per the security clearance by the government. So that is one big difference. So even though we are discussing that company which is number one in the area of aerospace and defense, but joining such companies is rather hard. So people who are planning to start a career in aerospace and defense, it is important for them to understand, to basically plan their career. If they want to be scientists, engineers, metallurgists, they have to start planning right now. So if you're in college and you're looking at, and if you're in Haryana studying engineering or any other specialized research and development course within the state of Haryana, and you want to start your career with BEL, and believe it or not, they provide very good pay package and very good longevity of your career and very good facilities for you to stay, etc. So if you're able to join a company like Bell, you don't have to basically come out. You can retire from that company and come out. So it is important for you to plan joining companies like Bell. Get your certification, get your clearance done, and make sure that you start building your network. Understand how to join company like Bell, because it is going to be a dream job for you. And so that is one aspect of it. You just cannot wake up one day and say that, look, I'm working for Intel, but tomorrow I can join BEL. That is not going to happen. You have to plan very early. So the jobs are very specific. Jobs are, people are selected. Best creme de la creme is selected based on competitive exams. So you have to start preparing for competition. You have to start getting your security clearance done, because it should not happen that you clear and then your security clearance also fail. Get the security clearance parallelly and prepare for your competitive exams, and then you can kickstart your career, a very lucrative career with company like Bell. Private sector jobs may not be able to switch into the Bharat Electronics. It's next to impossible. That is not going to happen. You have to start right from the college, and that is why I'm coming online with you and discussing these facts. Also, if you are a small business person, again, you will not be hired or engaged as a partner or as an agent or as a supplier by Bell, because you have to go through your company has to go through a rigorous background checks, including directors and all employees. So even if you are a supplier to Bharat Electronics, you have to go through a certain minimum norms. How do you basically send emails? How do you basically collect data? All of those things are very, very, for all of those, the implementation of policies, government policies have to be done in your company, and then only you can apply for security clearance. After you have got the security clearance, then you can become a supplier or agent of Bharat Electronics. So it's a very, very specific area, friends. I just wanted to address you online, discuss about this particular space. This information is mainly for the young budding students who are scientists, who are engineers wanting to join the area of defense aerospace in a company like Bharat Electronics in the state of Haryana. This is the information more relevant for them. Hopefully, I am able to give you information which may inspire you to join companies like Bell. If you have any questions, please do write and I will respond to you in timely manner. The name of the program is Know the Top Companies in Your State, and I will meet you again in the next one.